It's a UNESCO World Heritage Site in Pakistan, and it was an important Buddhist center from the 5th century BC to the 6th century AD. It contains the ruins from the Gandhara civilization, and it was a religious heartland that now lies in ruins that are arrestingly peaceful in the valley. Buddhist monasteries where monks once chanted leave echoes of peacefulness in what was once this great civilization. It was a place of learning for Buddhists and Hindus, and it was said that the first university had appeared here. It was a place of great learning in a cosmopolitan environment. It is spread across an area of 30 kilometers squared and has 18 archaeological sites. Most of these sites are located around the Taxila Museum. It was renowned as a site for the Gandhara civilization to thrive, especially after Ashoka's rule in the 1st century CE. It was a hub of Buddhism, a center of learning, an urban metropolis, and a meeting point of various cultures, from the Greeks to the Parthians, the Kushans, the White Huns, and eventually the Muslims. The Mahabharata was reported to have first been recited here also. Museums in the public sphere offering exhibits of Pakistan's Buddhist art offer an opportunity to explore both the meaning and the limits of public history in modern Pakistan beyond the contours of religious nationalism. Pakistan is the origin of Mahayana Buddhism, the greatest Buddhist sect today. By the 8th century, Buddhism had disappeared mostly from Pakistan. Now there's limited trace of it in a country that was its original home, its source. Buddhism made its biggest impact further east, where its influence endures today. More than half of its adherents are in Korea, Japan, China, Vietnam, Tibet, Malaysia, and Mongolia. When the Greeks arrived, Buddhism had been around for centuries. After Buddha's death in 480 BC, Buddhism art and architecture after Greek invasion changed. The Hellenistic or Greek influences were deep and far-reaching. From the way the Buddha was now been portrayed in human form, represented in motifs that were a fusion of Greek and traditional local Buddhist art. Architecture also emerged, and much of what we recognize in Buddhist art has come from this Indo-Greek culture embedded in these new forms. There's recently been a project of restoration and development in Pakistan for religious pilgrimages and tourism, which is interesting because is it going to trickle down into the psyche of a pluralistic society that's multi-faith and multicultural by increasing awareness to embrace diversity of minorities in the country with warmth and space to not be structurally or socially oppressed? Pakistan's engagement with its own Buddhist heritage has received far less attention in public history and public consciousness. Could connecting more to the history lead to more acceptance of Pakistan's minorities and policies towards them? Could this connection create a reimagined Pakistani identity of a more complex diversity that's embraced? Besides the regional ethnicities that are minorities in Pakistan, such as the Baluchis, there are also many religious minorities, such as the Christians, Ahmadis, Hindus, and Sikhs. There is much social inequity also for many of the people that identify as transgender in Pakistan. There have always been many influences on this land. Alexander the Great's arrival was the start of a long relationship with Greek culture that went on for hundreds of years. The Kalash people in northern Himalayan regions of Pakistan are descendants of Alexander the Great and still follow the Zoroastrian religion today as they struggle to still preserve their cultural way of life from the dominant Pakistan majority. The Kalash people worship a pantheon of gods and goddesses and hold magnificent festivals inspired by the seasons and the farming year. I found the experience with the Kalash people to be extraordinary when traveling there in 2004. If there was respect for plural society without inferiorizing or exotifying minority groups, perhaps the cultural identity of Pakistan would more match the reality and there would be equity for all ethnic groups. There are echoes today of the desecration of the Buddhist sites in Bamiyan in Afghanistan and also in Taxila by the Pakistan and Afghan Taliban. Perhaps the majority of Pakistan is confused by their Buddhist historical ties because there's been a state-sponsored Islamic agenda in Pakistan, which was created along the lines of Islam. This really denies the texture and complex weaving of cultures and religions and diverse people. It was always a frontier province with many different groups of people, and you can't really undo the complexities of the past. By not fully grasping and interconnecting the past history into the complex fabric of Pakistan, there's an empty space for this historical past that leaves emissions in the present identity of diversity in Pakistani society today.